I'm using my son's computer today because mine's being repaired. So that's why everything looks a bit different to normal. Okay, so welcome everyone. And thanks, just bear with me. I'm just getting my head around this computer at the moment and how this all works. But yep, okay, good. Now, so let's get started and let's get underway. So today, it's about the 7 keys to prosper in the new economy. So yeah, hi Jamie, hi Beck, hi everyone. So showing nice space comes up well. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It actually is. Edward set this up. We've just got a new outdoor setting as well. So it looks really great. So certainly a time right now to be doing this. I mean, the number of people I'm speaking to who are having challenges with incomes and things like that right now, and you know, with jobs and all this kind of stuff, and wondering what to do with the fact that governments are doing all the stuff that they're doing. It's, yeah, more than ever, you've got to be able to adapt. And so today I'm going to be sharing about the 7 keys and how you're going to be able to adapt in the new economy, because that's what I've realized this week. And in all that I've been going through in my own life, as many of you know, the secret has been flexibility and ability to adapt. So let's just get started. So, yep, so no legal advice or financial advice, and hi Katie, or anything like that. As we know, I'm not a licensed lawyer or accountant or financial planner. So goes for about 60 minutes. We'll be putting the recording on the YouTube channel, and let's get started. So the 7 keys to prospering. I like number 7. It's a good number. It's my life path and my favorite number. I don't know if anyone else likes it, but I think it's great. Key number 1 is, you haven't already, and most of you would have had at some level, but really embrace and join the digital economy. Because one of the reasons why so many people are struggling with the world today is holding on to the world as it once was. And I remember saying this statement to someone once. I said, suffering mainly occurs because people continue to hold on to the world as it once was, rather than adapting to people, adapting to the world as it is right this minute and right now. And there's no question we're heading into a major change of transition, and always changes in transition are accompanied by huge upheavals. And the Sovereign Individual talks about this, and we see that in the form of vaccine mandates. But if it wasn't vaccine mandates, it would be something else. If it wasn't something else, it might be a World War III, where they're actually running around shooting people or whatever. So there's always upheavals as things are happening. When we moved onto live streaming with music, there was huge upheavals in the music world as it changes. There's been huge upheavals. I still, even as recently as 5 years ago, there were still people running video libraries actually saying they didn't believe that live streaming would ever really take off and that video libraries would always be needed. We now know that's not the case. So we're absolutely, you know, dealing with all that kind of stuff right now. So being a digital nomad, now it doesn't mean that you know, completely give up all your physical stuff. But I'm sure many right now, the ability to have choice right now is so important. The thing I feel particularly relieved about is everything I do in my business and my work, I could be doing exactly what these people are doing in this thing right now. And I was doing that last year. In fact, it looks exactly like Pobber Station up north in WA, when we were sitting there with a table like that, actually working away, you know, and with Sammy, who I was down there, we were getting some work done, and I was just enjoying the beach and enjoying everything. I was catching up on emails, I was getting things done. So a digital nomad, you can do that. You can have your income streams that are still actually happening in the background, and you're still continuing to get on with life, and it means you can get away. And I was meeting people up there who were literally been living there since lockdown has started. They said, yeah, we just moved up here. You know, we've got our incomes coming in. We do a bit of fishing and things like that, having the time of our life, you know, until society sorts itself out, we're just staying where we are. Now, some people may choose to stay in the city, but you want to have the choice to be able to do it. And one of the things in this weekend's event we're doing on the sovereign income streams, one of the speakers doing that is actually teaching and sharing a little bit about cryptos and actually the whole off-grid kind of lifestyle and getting yourself ready for that. And I'm doing a lot more of that one myself. So you want to be able to move if you have to. And this is what I'm noticing, is people struggle to adapt this right now, because people kind of think there has to be a way and hold on. And even yesterday, I have a very good friend who's a brilliant, brilliant hypnotherapist and psychologist. And I've done work with him. He's actually a specialist in all that stuff, in how to access and brain frequencies to help your brain calm down, which he helped me a lot with. He also taught me how to access parallel universes. He's done remote viewing, deeper level trainings with me. And one of the things he said to me was really what he's asking me was, how can I, not be caught by these mandates in WA and hold on and keep my license? I said, well, that's the question. The answer's in the question. The fact that you're asking that is the whole problem. I said, you want to hold on to your license. This is why everyone's having difficulties. I said, the answer's easy. Give up your license, change your name, call yourself some loosey-goosey name like Parallel Universe Integrated Consultant or some kind of, hypno, or just kind of make up some name or whatever else, and just basically give up all your licenses. And he said, okay. He said, yeah, you're right. He said, that's perfect. But I could see that with him. And that was what I said to him. You've got to be able to be flexible to do this stuff. And this is where people are getting unstuck. So is it going to get better than it is right now? I don't think in the near future in any way, shape and form. Eventually it's going to get a heck of a lot better. I see the world moving into a significantly better place, but the next little while, we've got some real challenges ahead, and everyone knows that if we're honest with ourselves. So it's really important right now to prepare yourself for a difficult world in the coming days, okay? And be okay with that. People James Stockwell, who was an amazing, inspirational speaker from a prisoner of war from the Vietnam, he was the only one who could survive this platoon. And he said, because from day one, he knew he was in trouble. He didn't live in any kind of delusion. He knew the next little while was going to be horrendous. And he braced himself. Most of his platoon were living in denial that it happened to them. So one of the reasons I've been able to cope much better than the people around me, most of the people, with what's happened with Sammy, is because I just accepted the reality straight away. I didn't go in any kind of delusion. I just accepted where it was going and saw it as a journey. And I just had to process my own connection and energies in relation to that. Now, if I hadn't done that, like some people are just having immense problems dealing with that same situation. So this is a really good time right now to be prepared and ready to be flexible so that you're not going to be caught out by these things. And if they do come, you've got choice. You may choose to stay where you are and fight. You may choose to stay where you are and go to a protest, but you don't want to be going to a protest out of fear, out of anger, and out of a sense of disempowerment. Like, I cannot let them take my job. I cannot let them do this. Because that my feeling is will not end well for people who do that. I think that anything that you do has got to come from a place of empowerment. So I had our housekeeper who's over yesterday, and she was asking me, she said, they've mandated with my job, one of my jobs, I'm thinking of staying there, they're happy to let me do it. And all I said to her was, are you doing this because you really believe that and you know it's your path to stand up and fight, or are you doing for a sense of empowerment, or are you more doing that out of fear for your income security? I said, really ask yourself that. Why are you doing this? Are you doing this because you know in your heart this is your path? And she said, you're actually right. She said, I feel my soul's being called beyond this. I said, exactly. So then question why you're doing it. I said, sometimes there's some fights we're going to win, some fights we're not. I said, right now, the medical mafia has temporary control of the world, and why they do, you just got to learn to work within it. I said, not a pleasant situation. We can all be in denial and pretend it's not happening, but that's what's happening. So it's actually learning to navigate that situation, but knowing that this too will pass. It will end. It won't go forever. And I don't think it will necessarily go all that long. The only thing that might keep it going longer is people not learning the lessons and holding on to it. So creating a flexible digital income to support lifestyle. So really being comfortable. And to give you an idea, I found cryptos hard to get my head around. And so people often say, that's just not me. I found cryptos really hard, but I had a profound statement by a very wealthy crypto investor who said to me, he said, I was always someone worried and struggled with change. And he said, I remember reading Graham Hart, who was a great, the richest man in New Zealand. And he said his biggest secret to wealth was the ability to adapt to change quickly and go with it. And so he said, when cryptos first came out, I sat there and at first my natural instinct was this is one big bloody blooming scam. And he said, but what if I'm wrong? He said, what if it's not actually a scam? And so he said, I researched it for 2 months. And by the end of it, I was convinced where I was onto something. So he said, at the beginning of 2016, I started in cryptos and he made 30 million, starting from about $200,000. And that was simply because he said I was able to adapt. So I found cryptos hard to get my head around. I still don't understand some of the stuff, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it in a team and we're making money from it because I can see this is one part of the future and it is one way, and I emphasize one way to create a digital income and a good way for now. Number 2, now I'm not saying don't do this, limit physical location incomes, but there's a time and a place. And I often have people say to me about property. And although I always have to be careful because I can't give financial advice, I can only give my opinion in that. I say, look, I said, property has its place in any investment portfolio. It does. I said, in a free world, when everything's going fairly smoothly, the rule of law is respected, governments are playing fair. I said, property can be a great, great investment and can do very well for you. I said, in a time when governments are changing the rules all the time and picking on the easy ways to get money, I said, I regard properties as a slightly dangerous investment. The other thing I said I don't like about property right now is it constrains you to location. So let's say that you buy a really rich apartment in the middle of Melbourne or in the middle of Sydney, and I'm sure many people own it, and that's part of the problem they've got. They're not really actually making an informed, legitimate choice. They're making a choice, and this is one of the things that John Thompson, this hypnotherapist I mentioned about the other day, said to me. He was telling me, he said, people make their choices, and he said, and they try to adapt their reasoning that makes it sound like it was a legitimate choice. So it's a natural phenomenon. So someone goes, shit, well, I own a property in Melbourne. It's going to be hard work to sell it. It's hard to leave my family. It's hard to leave my father. So then you start justifying it. Well, I'm going to stay here because, and I'm going to stay here because of this. And I feel I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go to the protests. But deep down, it's not necessarily the case. So you're completely constrained with brick and mortar. Now, am I saying you don't do it completely? I'm not necessarily saying that. We do some stuff, but we stay flexible and understanding the risks that go with it. And knowing that if something happens unexpectedly, you may have to walk away from it. You may, I've been very wary of bricks and mortar businesses in the last little while, and I'm glad I have. I think there'll come a very good time to buy bricks and mortar again. I think that once the horrors of all these mandates have happened and completely mucked up a whole lot of things, there'll be opportunities of a lifetime. And there'll be a great time to buy bricks and mortar businesses because people will get fed up with governments who disobey the rule of law. Eventually, even the people who are on side of it right now will get fed up with it. That's what tends to happen. But for now, just keep in mind that if this is your sole, and I'm not saying get rid of this entirely, but if this is your sole reliance, you really are vulnerable, like completely vulnerable right now. And I'm sure you know what I mean. So they can keep you grounded and look. I mean, I was with someone today and she was telling me how she loves her property, gives her security. I'm like, okay. And again, it's all fine with the rule of law, but who knows what can happen there. So even storing all your gold cash in one place can subconsciously ground you. Now, in theory, yes, let's say you put all your gold in the Perth Mint or in the Brisbane Mint, you might go, no, it's okay, I don't have to live here, and you wander off and you can move somewhere else. But it's something about it that when we've got that sitting over there, and that's where our only thing is, that keeps us there, because it's like, well, I want to make sure I can see it, I can touch it, I can feel it, I can be there. So one of the reasons why I like to have gold in various places, for example, like Singapore with Virgil, who we've spoken about previously, having gold coins and whatever in the mint or whatever else, just keep that in mind that I'm not saying don't do it, but really structure your portfolio in a way where you can be adaptable. That's the point I'm saying. So be very mindful of physical assets at the time. Right now, most of my stuff is in digital now. The amount of physical I do is very limited. We do events in a physical venue. Even that, we haven't even rented a building. We just go in there and, you know, we actually go into like this, we book an event like Pan Pacific and we put it on, and we can always then get rid of it the next day. We we've rented an office in the city, but it's a month-by-month contract. That's what we've got them to agree on, a serviced office. It means that if suddenly something changed radically next year, and there was a, in WA, we could leave and pretty much have a month's notice and be gone. So Beck says, makes you think of Max Deegan, who had to leave the country quickly, leave it all behind. Exactly. You don't know what's going to happen when the rule of law gets absolutely violated. Like, for example, like right now, I mean, the rule of law is just being completely ignored. And what I mean by rule of law is Australia and America, once upon a time, a rule of law. It means that although there were strict rules, the rules were by and large, within those rules, gave people freedom. They gave people the opportunity to prosper. Donald Trump was the last of what I call a true capitalist prosperity-based politician, who's very much based on the rule of law. And although Trump had his quirks and he had his definite idiosyncrasies, and I think in some ways was a lot of his life was self-centered, there was no doubt that Trump lived by rule of law. And the more he did politics, he was very much about the people and honoring and fighting for the rule of law. But now we're not got that going on anymore. So that's why being flexible, it's a really good time to be flexible, and that will ease your fear. For a lot of people who are really scared, if you can set your life up, deal with your fear now while you still can. It's much harder if you get caught with a sudden mandate and you got to go running for your life. We set things up so if we have to leave, we can just leave, So this is why creating multiple streams of income, it's a much better way to go. And I know you hear Robert Kiyosaki and it kind of sounds ethereal, but this really is viable. The good thing about the world, how it is now going more digital, once you understand the digital economy and world, you can do stuff that you couldn't have done 5 years ago in the physical world. I mean, I can do what I'm doing with you right now all over the world, online seminars, whereas 10 years ago, I was flying on planes every time I did a seminar. I hated it. I'm not a big fan of planes. That's why I have to admit the whole COVID not being able to fly hasn't really, I've lost no sleep over it. I'm not a big fan of planes myself. I don't mind them from time to time, but they throw up my energy field. I don't like waiting in America in security lines. I don't wait security lines here. You kind of take a while to get over the experience. There's so many reasons I just don't like flying much at all. So when I do it, I really limit what I'm doing there. But yeah, so having this kind of multiple streams of income and things like that, and being able to be adaptable, being able to create these different things and stuff like that makes such a difference. Like I said, I was flying years ago everywhere. I'd gulp and go, okay, well, I may as well go and do a whole lot of trips at once and get it all out of my system. And I'd be flying, to different places. I remember when I flew to America, I still like going there, but I'd always go for a while and I'd go, oh, fuck, I'd take a day to get over my flight. I would only fly to America if I went business class. I'm like, there's no way I can cope with economy, just sitting there. So I would wait till good deals came on Skyscanner. I'd get on them and I'd be flying there and make sure that I had a really good bed on the plane. And even then, it still wasn't great. So whereas now webinars, the great thing what's happened with everything in the world is I can just sit here and Nadine can hear me. Yeah, like Nadine sitting in Brisbane can sit here and listen to me. Someone in New South Wales can listen to me. Someone in America. I don't have to get on any plane. It's amazing, so you can do stuff like that you couldn't do before. You can do a webinar and actually, I do a lot of free ones, as you know, but I also do paid ones where people pay and become part of our Global Wealth Club program. So people pay to be educated. I don't have to leave my house. Or if I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I'm out like in a camper trailer, I can do it. So it really creates a flexible ability for you to at least be able to have options. And that's the beautiful thing about this kind of stuff, is having real, genuine options. So like 4 engines, like a plane has 4 engines, because if one fails, the plane keeps flying. Imagine you flying on a Qantas or Virgin or some plane and it had 1 engine. And then the pilot says, hey, everyone, got some tough news. The engine's failed. I think people would be like, what on earth? So they've got 4 engines for a reason. So, hey, I've got some bad news. your one income stream has just failed. You've been mandated for your job now. You have to go and get experimented on with a medical procedure. Sorry, if you don't, you have to leave your job. That's what people are facing now, because people have built their security on a physical thing, on a one thing. So right now is the time to start to become adaptable, to toughen up, to grow up, and to really accept what's going on and know that it will pass. It won't last forever, okay? I mean, I'm going through this situation, as many of you know. It's been about 2 and a bit weeks now, and by and large, I'm doing okay. I'm just dealing with the people around, and I know it'll pass. Eventually it will pass and life will go on, but you still got to deal with the process. So that's what we're dealing with right now. So it gives you more safety and security. Like for me, I know having different ones, I feel good. Like having different businesses, different investments, different income streams. And I used to be a real risk taker to the point of insanity for many years. These days, I'm a bit the opposite. I've become very, very cautious. I go into really good, I understand it, but I make sure I invest in many different things. I'm right across the board. Our crypto portfolio is so diversified, it's ridiculous. And it just, it works really, really well. So it gives you more security. It means if something goes kaput, you're generally going to be relatively okay because you've got something else. That's the whole point. So 1 is a very dangerous number. So I used to joke this, it's like, that's why having one wife is a dangerous number. If she leaves you, you've got a problem. So I used to say with my friends, I think you got to have 5 wives. But anyway, that was just my little joke, or wives have to have 5 husbands. But you get the joke. But in all seriousness, 1 is a dangerous number. You know, if you lose the 1, you lose everything. You know, if you lose your one job, you lose your job. And just like that, you're mandated, you've lost your job. If you get mandated or your income, you lose it. You suddenly find out that your field has been taken over and being regulated. You find out that suddenly your one bank account has gone broke, which happened to people before. You might find out that the bail-in just happened to hit your one bank account worse than the others. It's a very big risk. So anything where you rely on one and you don't have a good spread and a good diversification, you know, then you're going to have you're taking a big gamble. So if you only have this one, you're stuffed. You know, that was one of the things why I appreciated with Sammy, for example, because I had lots of friends and so did she. So I had the many through having lots of people in my life around me, lots of connections. And that's why I've actually been relatively okay, because I'm surrounded by the many, you know, when I've had this situation happen to me. So key number 4 is create one stream of income at a time as a rule. Unless you're an unusually gifted person and can do lots of things at once, most people make the terrible mistake of going, oh no, I've got to get this thing. Oh, I'll do cryptos. Oh, I'll do options. Oh, I'll do business. Oh, I know what I'll do. Oh yeah, I've heard of network marketing. I'll do that too. And they think that will do it. But all that happens is they end up with a whole lot of different things happening and nothing really goes anywhere. And I'm sure some of you know what I mean. It's kind of like in project management studies, they found that the most efficient, most effective way of doing things is to actually do one thing at a time and be very organized. So this is why our event this weekend, we're doing lots of different topics. We're doing business, we're doing cryptos, we're doing trading, we're doing Stephen's talking about balanced portfolio and offshore investments. We've got Liz on business as well. We've got me speaking on overall this kind of stuff and income flow. So you're going to have plenty of choices. The only thing we don't have is property. That's something, though, I'm planning we will do something on that because there are ways you can create income through properties. So at the end of this weekend, for those of you coming, you'll hopefully know which is going to be your next one to focus on and something that you most resonate with. So really do that, you know, break it down, do one at a time. So building blocks one at a time. And when you do it that way, it's very sustainable. I remember the greatest growth in my company has happened in all our businesses when I've done things in blocks and stages. So I slowly, each day I do something new. Each day I do something new. Each day I do something new. So you keep doing it, you keep building it and things like that. By the way, if everyone's enjoying the PowerPoint today, the magnificent Sam Buckley helped me with that today. And I don't know what everyone reckons, but I think this PowerPoint's pretty damn good. Antonia, so is this weekend the third of the 3 package? Yes, it is, Antonia, it is. Who likes the PowerPoint, by the way? Yeah, Andrew loves it. Yeah, Sam, you're a bit of a hit. So, yeah, really good PowerPoint. I was like, wow, you know, done a great job. No doubt Sam's blushing, but hey, you've always got to recognize people and things like that. And at the end of the day, there's also like a blockchain aided. Yeah. It's great when you got people around you who are smarter than you at stuff. And I'm surrounded by lots of people who are smarter than me right now, which is really cool. So having patience as well is the other thing that's really important. So the thing is to get one and do it well, like really do that one thing well. So you might love what Derek's teach you. So right, I am going to master this trading. Once you've mastered it and got a system in place and it's easy, then you might be ready for your next challenge. Okay, cryptos. And it doesn't mean you can't do cryptos, but you would probably just focus on a hodl strategy where you just hold cryptos and leave it. You don't think about it if you're going to be doing options for your income. If you decide to do crypto for your income, then go all out with that one. So it's really good to do that. Be adaptable, be fluid. This is what I mentioned at the start. And I emphasize adaptability right now, like really be adaptable. So be really, really adaptable. So be ready to change when the world changes. So this is the thing right now. The world is changing. You want to be super, 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 super adaptable. So right now, look at any area of your life where you're rigid, where you're kind of locked in, where you're closed up, where you're holding on, and start to see how you can be more fluid. How you can be adaptable for change. Really do that right now. So a very good example was Industrial Revolution. Like you hear, like just imagine living at that time, everyone. Like it was a sad time. You have these good, solid workers. They, you know, beautiful, solid workers who are absolutely solid people, just good laborers, good survivors, things like that. And they got hurt in the Industrial Revolution because they wanted to keep their jobs. They didn't want machines to turn up. You know, they wanted it, they fought, they held on, but change doesn't stop for anyone. You know, it's like the law of gravity. Thank you. Yet law doesn't adapt, it doesn't adapt for anyone. So change is coming and it doesn't have emotions about it. It doesn't go, oh gosh, you know, like poor, you know, Sharon or poor Nadine, they must be finding it hard, or Shelley must be finding this tough. And I'm just saying names randomly on this webinar. But it just goes, okay, this is what's happening. Are you going to adapt to it? And the reason that people got burnt in the Industrial Revolution is they didn't adapt and they weren't able to adapt. They didn't want to adapt. So right now is a time to realize that things are changing, and more than ever before right now, you want to be adapting, like able to adapt, willing to adapt, wanting to adapt, embracing change. I naturally don't like a lot of change in my life, even though people think the opposite. I'm a little bit I like things a certain way. I don't like change naturally, but I've learned to embrace change now. And I've got good at change now. Now I love change, but there was a time I wasn't adaptable so easy. Grace will tell you that. You know, that's where Grace was a good influence on me. She's very adaptable. You know, Grace can adapt quickly. We actually laugh. I can remember years ago when we had just bought a house in Helena Valley, and I got offered this job in a law firm when I was like in that system. And it was an amazing opportunity. And I said to Grace, do you want to go live in Melbourne? She goes, when are we going? That was her response. And I'm like, hang on a sec, I want to process this. She goes, what's there to process? Let's do it. Now, of course, I don't know if anyone else was like Grace, but I was like, oh, okay. So she got me moving, and we ended up selling the house and moving. And I can remember when we came back. In fact, to this day, I still crack up, and Grace, I'm sure you remember this, when we returned. I remember we had been living in Melbourne for a year, be going to all these different investment seminars. I can remember coming back with Grace. Grace had, you know, our first child. She's pregnant with William, is going to turn up. We got back for Christmas. We were going to spend some time with family. And my mum said, and we were telling my mum how great Melbourne was, and we were loving our life in Melbourne, and it was really, really good. And we were doing all of our stuff, like with the seminars. And then Mum goes, could you guys go down to the shop and buy some milk? I said, yeah, sure. So we left the house and we walked up to get some milk. And as we walk into the shop, Grace goes, "Oh, isn't it nice to be back?" And I said, "Yeah, it's nice to see family." And saying, "Yeah, that's the only thing, having William, and I would love to, when we have our son, I'd really love to have family more around." I said, "Yeah, I know." And then she looked at me and I looked at each other. I said, "Do you want to move back here?" She goes, "Okay." And literally, we got back home 10 minutes later. To my absolutely astonished, completely bewildered mother, explained to her we're moving back to Perth, and and we're going to come back. Now, so to this day, we literally took us like about 2 or 3 minutes to make that decision, just talking about it. And it was just quick, it was fast, it was instant. And that's the kind of thing that will get you through in these times, when you can just adapt and go, okay, well, time to move. Is there anyone else like that who's just an instant kind of would do something crazy like that? Like 1 minute you're definitely going one way, and then 3 minutes later you've already changed what you're doing. Or is Grace and I the only crazy people in this webinar? Christine, sometimes. Yeah, Neville did that coming from New Zealand. That doesn't surprise me, Neville and Lorraine. You guys are like ace. Doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah, we're crazy. Yeah, Sam Buckley. Yeah, now Sam's a bit like that. Yeah, Henry, like go to Keller to pull beers up the walking away from APRA. Yeah, absolutely. It's great to be adaptable. So being adaptable right now is going to save your ass, literally, in every way, every shape, and every form. So the 6th point here is make significant time to educate yourself. It takes a while to master something. And even today, I was sitting with someone and we were talking about this, because she was saying, yeah, I'm terrified of cryptos. I'm in property. And I said, yeah, well, you should be terrified of it if you don't understand it. You'd probably lose your money. But I said, if you actually understand it, it's actually not that hard. Once you get cryptos, it's actually not that difficult. It's just, you got to understand it. And in my case, also knowing the value of team. So we've got a really great team, like Connor, who's going to be speaking this weekend. He's he and James are my investment syndicate partners. And of course, Connor's coming back with his weird and wonderful cryptos he's found, and I find different ones and we do it together. And the good thing about doing this stuff together, you can find a buddy to learn with. It's more fun getting wealthy with friends, because then you got people to enjoy it with. That was one of the reasons that I just said to him, well, let's just kind of all share the wealth and just have some fun, and we'll just all share in it, and let's just all use what we're best at doing. So everyone agreed I'm the best kind of speaker. I'm a great in terms of being able to, I'm an ideas person. I can open up doors, but Connor's really good at researching and implementing things. Grace is brilliant in terms of working with people. Like, without Grace, seriously, this work would be nothing right now if it wasn't for Grace. Because I bring, like I said, I go hunting, open the door, but then Grace integrates, gets it out there, does the group, and loves dealing with people, and is really good with people. And so, without Grace, and then without Edward, who manages and keeps everything organized. So yeah, look, having a crypto buddy, as Shelley says here, is a great idea. I mean, if you're going to learn cryptos, find 1 or 2 or 3 people and just join communities and be very linked with people, and do it together, educate together. It's exciting. You might even find that one of you is absolutely brilliant at administration, whereas the other one's really good at understanding things. So the one who understands things explains to the one who's administrative, but the administrative implements it. That's kind of how we're working. So it's a good time to educate yourself. There's so much opportunity to do it. That's why you're all coming online here. And you can do this kind of stuff and learn about this kind of stuff and master it. And it's an incredible time in the world. If you actually look at the other side of the equation, it's actually an incredible time to be alive, because we're getting opportunities to be part of a massive, massive shift that was predicted in the Sovereign Individual book, and enter a whole new world and be part of leading the world. And governments will do their things for a time, as like any change, but it won't last forever, and just finding a way to work within it. Like, I've already went this week and I bought a beautiful outdoor furniture and barbecue. We bought it, and, Grace couldn't believe it. She goes, you guys picked that. And we're like, yeah, we actually picked it. They all thought the shopkeepers had to. I said, no, we actually picked that. I think I'm developing a feminine artistic interior design gift or something, because I'm noticing I'm getting better at it. But yeah, we picked all that because I'm like, let's just get people over. Let's just start having get-togethers of clients and people, and all around Perth, and just get people over. Let's get in the habit of having fun and getting them over. And then if they do decide they're going to restrict movements of cafes, it doesn't really affect us, you know. For now, we'll love going to our cafes, and we really do, but if they start to restrict movements, well, so be it, you know. I think plenty of people will rise up and things like that. And like I said, I'll just get on with life and take advantage of the opportunities. So that's how I've been seeing it. So Nadine, God, I wish I was in Perth. Yeah, everything has its pros and cons, Nadine. I'm okay here because the thing I like about Perth is that WA is a big state, like it's big, you know, and generally any mandates don't really go much past a few hours north and a few hours south, all that much. So it can very easily move. It's like living in your own country in WA. That's why I like it. And even within Perth, it's got a lot of rural outskirts kind of area, which not much happens. And I live in one of those. So yeah, I'm happy living here for that reason. You know, I think it's, so yeah, barbecue setting. Yeah, no, you'd love it, Nadine. You'd love coming to the barbecues. We're going to be having that and hanging out, and, you know, we live right on the beach, which I like, having the fresh air. And yeah, so it's just being able to adapt and getting back. I'm actually going to my brother-in-law's this weekend. Me and Christine and Fiona are going to faint on the spot. But yeah, I'm actually going to see him. He's going to teach me about generators, show me about solar power, show me about all these practical things and guide me. So then we're going to get this all implemented in my house. And I'm becoming practical. I'm going to be doing 4-wheel drive courses. And it's like, for me, I mean, I'm horrendous at this stuff, you know, so I'm being adaptable. So if I can do that, yeah, Sam Buckley's like probably in shock. I mean, anyone who knows me, when I got tested in my careers test, literally, the lady said I was the lowest suitability for practical tasks she'd ever seen. I was like 2%. She'd never seen anyone that low. She goes, you must be the kind of guy that has difficulties changing light globes. And I said, pretty much, yeah. If my toilet gets jammed, I have no idea how to fix it. I said, if my tap washer, they said, I'll just replace the washer. The plumber says to me, I said, I don't know how to do that. Could you come and do it? I'll charge you $130. I don't care. I don't know how to fix it. You know, that's how poor I've been. So I thought, well, okay, let's just get a bit better at this. So I'm actually getting some practical skills. So if I can do that, you know, you can, you know, all learn cryptos or learn options trading or whatever. That's how I see it now. You've got no excuses. And Christine and Fiona and Seb would all agree, you know, because I am like, I remember in Albany, I think I'm finally working out how to light a fire. It's taken me that long, but I think I successfully lit 3 fires in a row last time I was at Christine's house. So I was really pleased with that. I managed to keep them going. So, you know, yes. So like Bitcoin, if you haven't done it before, yeah, it's hard to get your head around it. If you haven't learned to do staking with cryptos for income, learn about staking. Do your best to understand it. Learn about going off grid, you know, learn about the stuff. Really turn up this weekend, listen, see what resonates with you and go, no, I will learn this. I'll get on top of it because it's going to make your transition easier and give you a project and a challenge. So Tanya, I'm 5% practicality. No, I need all of it for myself. I'm not sending you any energy, Tanya. You could go to Sam Buckley or Christine, you know, they'll give you some practicality. So yeah, health and wellness and looking after your health. Those who are in the Global Wealth Club would know that my frequency medicine specialist I've been working with for years, she spoke today and was brilliant. She's going to be speaking every couple of weeks for us. You know, learning about health, frequency medicine. I'm studying more about homeopathy myself. I've really been mastering how germ warfare happens. That's been my latest study, which I was doing the other day, learning how to combat germ warfare with homeopathics. I'm learning it for myself now, and it's great. And in fact, the results were there. I got tested the arm. When I got tested the other day, I was told to be virtually in like unbelievable health. And I said, yeah, I plan to keep it that way. So yeah, so really master these skills and educate and get on top of it. And this is what we teach in the Wealth Club about the 6 flags of freedom, you know, getting alternate citizenships, getting residency, getting a business income. And it's not as hard as it looks. This weekend, Liz Hartley is going to be teaching and showing you how really anyone can start a business and make it grow. You know, we're going to be teaching about investing, how you can invest and make income. And you don't have to go out there and suddenly overnight make $1 million a week, you know. I rejoice when one of my cryptos is making $100 a week passive income. I'm like, that's awesome. Every little gain I appreciate, and you tend to get more. So just starting it, it's absolutely the best, you know. Learning about privacy. Very importantly, building a legacy. Like I cannot emphasize enough the importance of having a legacy or a mission or purpose. it's very easy to create money and wealth when there's a reason behind it. And as I was saying to someone, whether you like them or not, there's a good reason why Google, Facebook, and Bill Gates became rich. They originally got rich because they served the world in a big way. Google created an amazing platform where we all find each other through searching. Facebook, still to this day, I use it heavily. It was one of the best, most inclusive networking platforms available. They've now, unfortunately, gone against the very thing that made them great. So I think their star will wane in time. But Facebook became great because they served the world en masse. Microsoft became wealthy because they served the world en masse. I mean, we all use their computers in our family. So it's the more you can find a reason and a legacy and a way to serve and give back, the more you're going to find that income streams and wealth, and you'll find people will come around you very, very easily. And finally, you can never underestimate the power of actually protecting your assets and minimizing your tax. And $1 saved is $1 earned. That's always been my statement to people. If you save 100 grand a year tax, it's 100 grand a year earned. So this is one of the greatest income streams you can get is minimize your tax legally if you haven't done it. I mean, if you don't do any income streams this weekend and you minimize your taxes and save, say, 30 grand a year, you just created 30 grand passive income. So it's such an important thing to be on top of your tax minimization. With all the uncertainty, you need to protect your assets. It's like critical right now. I mean, believe you me, governments are going to, the sovereign individual book said that they'll come for your money, and they will. As the pandemic, whatever's going on, people all focus on the jab stuff, and laws get passed, they'll be coming for people's money. They'll be fining, they'll be taking money. I'm predicting a major tax crackdown by the ATO on crypto investors. There'll be various raids on people with licenses, like APRA licenses, anything where people are attached to the system economically. So there's a time to take radical action to protect your assets, like breaking as many ties and things that you've got on as you possibly can, So the whole idea is you want to keep a lot more of what you're actually earning, like keep what you're earning. So keep it in your bank account where it rightfully belongs. And it's going to take planning, structure, getting the right team. I've got incredibly organized finances. I've got a bookkeeper in Philippines, offshore. I've got plenty of things around. We manage things. We have financial reports. We do all that stuff. My son, Edward, who didn't understand them, now understands reports. He's been trained. He wanted to learn. And yeah, so this is another thing as well. It's really important right now. Okay, question. So there's one here from Nadine. What makes an investment syndicate exactly? Yeah, so an investment syndicate, Nadine, is just simply where people are getting together as a group and pooling money for the purposes of investing in a project or group of projects. So, we might decide to invest in a major aviation deal, which is private, which is going to be a big thing in the next few years as planes come back in. And then, a number of us might, all put money in and invest into it. And as a collective, they might want $1 million, but rather than me have to put up all the million, I might have, 20 people as part of the syndicate all involved in it. So Beck says, we're nearly fully unbanked, working on sovereign income now and pulling back from the system ASAP. Yeah, look, my approach, and Stephen will teach on the weekend, is balanced portfolio. I do still have money in Australian banks. I have money in offshore stuff, but we also have money in cryptos. We have it in other stuff. We have it in gold and silver. So the whole idea is being spread, being balanced, being diversified. So, yeah, wow. So there's plenty of stuff about homeopathy, but it's great. Shazara is an expert in that one, and I'm asking her to help me because, I think it's a very important skill. In fact, the guy I saw yesterday was showing how Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip and Prince Charles have been using homeopathy for years. He showed me a book now, which you can't really buy, but showed a picture of Queen Elizabeth as a young woman with her homeopath doctor, who is a GP, but also a homeopath. And she talked about flower essences, homeopathy, and that's kept her etheric body clean. Because homeopathy, she said, the only thing that cleanses the etheric body as well as the physical. So the royal family know that. And not surprisingly, how old is Lizzie? She's lived a long time. Prince Philip lived a long time. The Prince Charles lived a long time. So Yeah, Sim, Prince Charles, a patron of the Royal Homeopathic Hospital in London. Yeah, he's a big believer in it, Prince Charles. Royal family love that stuff. They're big fans and promoters of homeopathy. So, any questions, comments? It's been a lot shorter today, which has been good. Tracy, will you talk about how to access your crypto holdings to pay bills? I'm holding cryptos but need to learn the next steps. Yeah, probably not a lot of the technicalities like that, Tracy. What we'll be doing is teaching the generals and showing that we're going to have two speakers. One is going to be more simple, one is going to be more advanced. So both, if you're a beginner, you'll get a really good speaker. If you're more advanced, someone is going to speak on that. There is going to be a lot of people have been pestering us. Will we run crypto programs to teach people or mentoring groups? And the answer is after this event, we will be doing it. So at the event will be, people who do want to kind of learn more about it, then we'll be doing a follow-up webinar for people who want to come along after the event as well. So just for people who came. So yeah, Julie, living room with Satoshi. Yep. What about offshore banks like Global, Limit Pay, in Switzerland? So I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I don't understand that question. Yeah, living room with Satoshi is pretty good. Yeah, count me in to learn about crypto, Jeanette. Rob, my accountant, laughed at me and I mentioned offshore banks. Most accountants honestly just blow my mind. I mean, I had a client just this week, who their accountant financial planner was telling her, didn't see the need to do all the asset protection, but we're doing, and I see this all too often. I just shake my head. I'm like, I don't really know what to say, because all I want to say to the accountant, I used to do this, is like, well, do you have car insurance? Maybe like, yeah, well, why do you have car insurance if isn't that an overkill? I mean, you don't plan to crash your car, do you? And they get the message quickly. I'm like, yeah, you get car insurance because in case you crash your car, you don't want to do it. So why would you not protect your whole net worth? If you've got a property worth a lot, why would you not create a second mortgage over it? Why would you not have trust? So protect your business. Like, why would you not do it? So, so Jamie, do you know about living and working in the private versus the public? Yeah, people who go down that path, I leave them to it. My view is that it's a bit like, in theory, I mean, it's absolutely morally illegal for governments to mandate private, experimental medical procedures, but they're doing it. And equally, in theory, going into the private, which means technically withdrawing from the system, that's like going to the mafia and saying, I'm not under your jurisdiction, I'm living my own life. I mean, they'll go, great, and they'll pull out the gun and shoot you. So every single time that people who try to run private foundations have gone to court, they've lost every time. So it's just not a path which I do, which I teach people. I just say people want to go that path, they go and do it, but it's not something I get involved in myself, because every time the tax office or anyone's gone after it. So I say people are going to do it as long as you know the risk and know that if you get looked at, you're going to be in for the fight of your life. That's my comment on that one. So Jamie, I'm interested in the crypto trading platform and software you use. So yeah, I don't really, it's mainly my team who use it. They just use Binance, and there's another one, I can't remember the name of it. There's various ones that they use. So, but I know Binance we use, trying to remember the other one. It's one in Singapore. I can't remember the name of it. So, any other questions, everyone? KuCoin, yep, KuCoin is another one, yep. Jeanette, if I attempt to mandate the jab, can we work on prepared to leave the straw man behind? Well, like I said, give it a shot if you want. I wouldn't waste my time. I don't regard my chance. I don't like doing fights. I have little chance of success. If I was asked if I wanted to get in a boxing match with the Australian world champion, I wouldn't even waste my time, because I know I'm going to get my ass kicked. So I think there's better ways to basically deal with that. And that's what, the more you withdraw from the system, the better, So generally that's the vulnerability right now, being in the system. and things like that. Okay, so next step from here. Now, who's coming to this weekend? Our all-day seminar. We're doing a long all-day event on income. Yep, a few people going. I've seen a couple other questions. I will answer them in a sec. Yes, great. Is there anyone who's not coming who'd like to come now and hear more about this? Because what we're going to be doing is running it, the sovereign income stream and new economy. We've got heaps of different speakers. We're going to be covering cryptocurrencies, like I've mentioned. We've got 2 great speakers, offshore investing and the balanced portfolio. We're going to be covering tips for safely maintain the balanced portfolio and investing, generating cash flow from business. We're going to have 2 speakers on that, which is really exciting. Building a successful team, options trading as well, with Derek, who's brilliant. Like many people have been working with him. Yeah, the new economy becoming part of the new wealthy. That's a big thing we're going to show, because right now you've got the best opportunity you're ever going to get to do that if you put the work in. So we can give you the knowledge and the wisdom. I pull out our best stops, our best speakers. At the end of the day, though, you can come along, but if you get excited and do nothing, you won't get any value from it. So the secret is come along, learn it, and choose one thing to take action on. That's going to be my comment. Someone said about going to the protest. Yeah, look, as I said to someone, I mean, there's no reason why people can't come to the event, skip out for a couple of hours and go to the protest and come back, you know, no big thing. It's going to be, there's 3 ways you can attend. One is you attend live. The other one is you join the online live streaming. And the third one is you join the online live streaming, but you get access to the replays so you can actually attend. So, and things like that. So someone's asked me a link for the event. Yeah, look, the link generally gets sent out about a day or 2 before. Okay, so is there anyone else who's going to, so who's interested in coming who's not basically coming right now? I'm just curious. Is there anyone who hasn't signed up or plans to sign up or would like to now sign up for the event? Then a lot of people are coming. A few hands raising. Yep. Beck. Yeah. Yep. Michelle. Yep. Rob. Yep. Tracy. Yep. Now, look, I've literally got my best speakers, because and we kept the cost really, really affordable, because we really want to give people the best options possible. Yeah, the recording available for purchase later? No, because what we generally do is that if you want to come watch the recording, you purchase it here. We're going to be offering them all as a bundle product, this event and the other events, for $497 is what we're going to be doing in the future. So this price you get right now to $127 for online, that's basically, yeah, that'll be available until the event, and you can watch the replays pretty much indefinitely and things like that. So, yep. So anyway, there's a few more questions. I'm just going to have a quick look at some of them and see any I can answer here. When do you think we'll be able to fly overseas without being back? Goodness me. My crystal ball is not working at the moment. So I'm inclined to think, I think it's going to be a few years. That's my feeling, because even if you can, even if Australia changes, I think there's many countries are still going to work this stuff out. So I think it'll be a case by case basis with different countries. That's my feeling. Certain countries will start to open up. So, what other questions do we have here? Yeah, someone's asking about the straw man or fighting in court. Yeah, as I mentioned, that's not what I teach or not what I do. So, Pete, got me mixed up with DST and missed the webinar. Is there a recording available for the day? Yeah, I'll let my team answer that. It'll be on YouTube. Okay, so just put the link up again if you could, Belle. That would be really good, just so people have got that if they want it. Yeah. So, okay, everyone. Well, thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in the weekend. And look, we do run a lot of community, these free events. We've got the Telegram group. And we plan to do a lot more because community is so important. I have daily community now. I'm talking to people. I'm on some kind of online event. I mean, I've seen the value. The reason I've done really well with a like unbelievably difficult situation with my, Sammy, who I've had a great 4 years with, literally being in a coma in ICU and now pretty much in a vegetative state with life support switched off and, slowly passing away. I mean, that's a pretty challenging situation to anyone. And having amazing support has been the big secret. And no matter what you're going through right now, having good support around you, being part of the community, being part of a good team will really help you to basically, get through whatever's coming up. And most importantly, being adaptable is my summary. And yeah, look, absolutely go all out with mastering some income streams. And thanks everyone, you're a really great group. I actually love doing these webinars, and that's why I've insisted on still doing them. I love, serving and giving to people. I enjoy it immensely. I always get blessed even more. So yes, I do have a little bit of interest in doing it because I get looked after by the universe, get really well looked after. And so that's why of our events, we aim to give extraordinary value for a very reasonable, fair cost. We don't hard sell at our events. As those of you come know, I have a strict rule against that. Our rule is that if people are paid money, they deserve good content. At the end, some of the speakers might say people do want to learn more. They're welcome to come along to another webinar. So people who want to follow up on that one. But rest assured, if you do come, you won't get hard sold anything. You'll get great content. You can go away. If you want to inquire more, there will be options, but it will not be pushed in any way. So yeah, thanks everyone. And yep, it's a good time to be open. I will see you all next time.
To kick the habit that my mind is breathing in.